Why buy someone else's old problems? Resale homes often come with outdated appliances, inefficient insulation, and costly hidden repairs. City Ventures offers a better way. Our brand new homes feature modern open floor plans, stylish fixtures, and the peace of mind that comes with a builder's warranty. Everything is fresh, functional, and designed for how you live today. Skip the renovation headaches and move into something perfect. Find your new beginning at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 519 of the True Crime All the Time podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, man.
Okay, hanging in.
Hanging in.
That's all you got.
That's right. I could complain.
Not doing good, not doing bad, just hanging in.
Does it do any good to complain about
It
this
doesn't.
damn kidney stone?
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. All right, buddy, let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
You ready for this episode of True Crime All the Time?
I am.
We're talking about Carline Muirhead and Sandy McKellar. When forensic pathologist Carline Muirhead met gamekeeper Sandy McKellar on Tinder in 2020, she believed she had found the love of her life. Sandy made a shocking confession that forced her to make what felt like an impossible choice.
Tinder, is that where you swipe left or right or something like that?
Yeah, like you don't know what Tinder is.
I'm just, want to confirm with you.
Now, I don't know what Tinder is because I've been married for 30 years, but I know for a fact you know what. Not now. You don't know what it is now, but you might have known what it was at some point.
Might have heard about it.
Might have heard of it. In 2020, Dr. Carline Muirhead was a forensic pathologist working in a mortuary in Glasgow, Scotland.
Ah, your homeland.
Yeah. You know what I always say? It's not Scottish, it's crop.
Yes, you do.
After going through a difficult breakup with a man who was allegedly abusive, she decided to join Tinder in the fall of 2020. Now, I've always heard of Tinder as more of a hookup app.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure people have met on Tinder and formed like lasting relationships, right?
I would think.
Doesn't mean it has to be like a one-night stand hookup app. But
No.
I think maybe by and large it might be that.
I don't know.
At least that's what I've heard.
But this is also around the COVID time, isn't it?
Well, yeah, actually, right? Fall of 2020, we're just kind of getting into the heart of COVID, right? The start of it. In October, Carline matched with Alexander Sandy McKellar, marking the start of their whirlwind romance. And Sandy McKellar seems like a very Scottish name to me.
McKellar. Yeah.
Sandy was a hunter and gamekeeper on this estate, which was a 68 square mile farm in the Scottish Highlands near a village called Bridge of Orkney, about an hour away from the city.
Sounds like it was probably pretty nice, is what I'm thinking.
68 square miles, not small.
Up in the Highlands?
Are you familiar with the Scottish Highlands?
Nothing like the Scottish Highlands.
Spend a lot of time there?
Okay.
Oh.
Just I just feel
no
Braveheartish.
I've seen Braveheart. That's as much as I know of the Scottish Highlands. On his Tinder profile, Sandy described himself as a 6'4" Highlander, lonely contractor looking for someone to keep warm on cold nights on the farm. You ever see the movie Highlander?
Actually, I did. It's been a while, but
me too.
Yeah.
It's an older movie, and I think they might have made some other ones. But all right, so 6'4", he's a big lad, tall lad, but he's just looking for someone to keep him warm. Cold nights on the farm.
Well, if you'd wear something besides the kilt, maybe you wouldn't get so cold.
Yeah, not great in the cold. From the beginning, Carline and Sandy had a strong connection. She explained in the docuseries, "Should I Marry a Murderer? I felt so lonely and wanted to find someone who didn't want to change me and someone who would want to start life together with marriage and the prospect of children." And all right, at a certain age, isn't that what everybody's looking for? Right?
Yeah.
If you haven't found it by a certain point, most people start to kind of progress out of the party lifestyle and they're maybe looking to settle down, start a family, something like that.
Certain things that are important to people at that time.
Yeah. She agreed to meet Sandy on the farm for their first date in early October 2020. Carline recalled an unsettling conversation with a friend ahead of the date. She said, I phoned my friend Carla. She was like, what if he turns out to be a murderer? I was like, oh, come on, get a grip. That's not going to happen.
Sounds like a conversation some of our really good listeners
would have
with some of their friends. Like,
yeah,
hey, what if?
Well, maybe this friend Carla was into true crime. Yeah. She thought like that. I don't know. But Carline and Sandy both bonded over their jobs because they dealt with death every day. Sandy seemed relieved to find a partner who understood him, and he seemed interested in her work as a pathologist. I would be very interested in that work. Although I feel like it would be, it's not an easy job.
I'd be interested. I'd want to have some conversations, but not before and not right after dinner.
And not during, for sure.
Definitely not during. Be like, hey, we'll have this conversation later.
But you would think, right, some of these pathologists, they have to have the most amazing stories.
Oh,
now, some of them they probably can't share
with
everybody, but, things being found in places that you wouldn't expect to find things, matchbox cars. I don't know. I've heard of different things found in x-rays. So
there's two people you want to be really close to at a party, a pathologist and a proctologist.
Proctologist. I knew that was going to be your second one. Sandy and his twin brother, Robert, who was also a farm worker, they often hosted parties in a barn on Auk Estate, or they went out to local pubs. And again, I don't know if I'm saying all these places correctly. I can't even say all the places in the States correctly. Oh. But the more international we get, the more I normally mess up.
So. If you need my help, let me know.
Because again, you've seen Braveheart.
I've seen Braveheart. I see Braveheart the movie and also Braveheart the Disney or the cartoon one. Maybe that wasn't Disney. Maybe that was... I
don't think that was Braveheart, was it?
Yeah, it's called Brave. Just Brave.
That is not the same thing as Braveheart, is it?
No, but it's a Scottish princess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I got some Scottish knowledge.
I'm assuming there's a lot less killing in that one.
Yeah, a lot less.
It was during one of these parties that Robert pulled Carline aside and told her Sandy was, quote, not right in the head. All right. So this is your twin brother or your boyfriend's twin brother.
Yeah,
saying, oh, by the way, my brother, your boyfriend, is not right in the head.
And you need to know this.
I don't know what you do with that information. Carline was so smitten that she kind of dismissed Robert's remark. Maybe maybe she thought, well, he's jealous of our relationship. But she did notice some red flags with Sandy. He often became loud and belligerent when he drank too much. And she suspected he drank and used drugs as a crutch during their relationship.
Which is a problem.
Yeah, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Right? Why do people drink? Why do they use drugs? Well, for a number of reasons, but some people use them as a crutch, right? To get through things or during stressful times or whatever.
Nerves.
Weeks after meeting on November 28, 2020, Sandy proposed to Carline. She accepted and was looking forward to starting the next phase of their life together.
So it was a pretty short period of time there.
It was. And again, did she see some red flags? Yeah. She even admitted that. But she also said, right, she was looking for someone to settle down with. She was smitten with this guy and she thought he was the one. Caroline's family invited the couple to spend Christmas with them at their home in Glasgow. Shortly after the engagement, as Carline was preparing for the trip, she asked Sandy if there was anything from his past that might affect their future together.
It's always a good question to ask.
Is it? I guess it is, but you might not want to find out what somebody's getting ready to tell you.
Yeah. You've probably been asked that question. I know I've been asked that question. And
why would I be asked that question? I've been married for over 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even have a past, really, when I got married.
You were just too young.
I was like 22 years old.
Your closet was still very empty.
It was. There was no skeletons, very few skeletons. But he made a chilling confession to her. He said 3 years earlier, he killed a man. Sandy confessed that he was driving under the influence with Robert in the passenger seat when he accidentally hit a man with a bicycle. That man was 63-year-old Tony Parsons. Tony was a Navy veteran who lived in Tillicoultry in Clackmannanshire, Scotland.
Oh, yeah. Nice area.
You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Tony had a wife and 2 kids, and he was a beloved grandfather. He had also survived prostate cancer. Tony was an outdoorsman who enjoyed fishing with his grandchildren. He also loved golf and rugby and was involved with coaching and refereeing mini and midi leagues, whatever those are.
Yeah.
In Scotland, I'm assuming it's like pee-wee or say soccer here or whatever you call it.
I don't know. I'm going to believe.
Oh, that one you don't know nothing about.
I'm thinking
But
maybe it has something to do with golf.
Clackmannanshire, you know all about. Mini and midi leagues out of your
Out of my range of knowledge.
out of your range. Another one of Tony's hobbies was cycling. Because he survived cancer, he decided he wanted to give something back. On September 29, 2017, he joined a 204-mile prostate cancer charity ride from Fort William back to Tillicoultry. The accident happened late that evening on the A82 highway near Bridge of Orkney. When confessing to Carline, Sandy said that after hitting the man, they stopped to check on him, but there was no chance he would survive. He and Robert argued about calling the police, but they feared they would be arrested. So they buried the body on Auk Estate and tried to move on with their lives. I mean, can you imagine that you are in love with someone, you're now engaged,
Yeah.
you're planning to get married, and this person drops this revelation that 3 years ago they killed someone. Now, according to them, it was accidental,
Right.
but they still covered it up and they buried this body.
Which would be so shocking to hear.
Yeah. I don't know what you do with that information.
Well, I know what you should do with that information, but what do you actually do when it's the person that you are in love with telling you this?
Yeah. When it's the love of your life, is that something that you say, well, you shouldn't have done that, but I'm not going to tell on you.
Yeah.
We're going to find out.
What would you do?
We're going to find out I actually don't know. I would love to say that I would terminate the relationship immediately and I would march straight to the police. That's what I would love to say. And I would kind of like to hope I would do.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how my heart would react.
Yeah.
Because, you know, everybody can think back about like being engaged. I mean, oh my gosh, you're in kind of la la land, right?
Yeah.
Or even just after you get married, being a newlywed, like that part of the relationship is always kind of magical.
This is the kind of stuff that will come out like 5 years after you've been married. Like,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't even like you anymore. And I'm going to go tell the police what you told me 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Man, he's really trusting her.
Yeah.
He could have just said, no, there's nothing in my past.
Nope, I'm good.
Just let it go on. But I mean, at the very least, you got to give it up to him that he was honest.
Yeah.
Now, he did something kind of horrific, but he was honest about it. My other thought is you're really putting a lot on that other person because now you can't take that back.
No.
Right. Once that information is out there, once that person knows, they got to do something with it. They have no choice.
Because now they can get in trouble too.
Absolutely. So Tony's family became worried when he hadn't called them by the evening of September 30th, 2017. Tony's son, Mike, recalled to the BBC years later, I actually texted him myself with what is my dad and myself sense of humor. It was a simple text that said, "Are you still alive?"
Oh, man.
Looking back now, it's not nice to know that was the very last thing I texted him, knowing at this point he would have been passed away. But who hasn't done that?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
You're joking around. Like if somebody's late, you're like, "Are you still alive?"
I
What's
think
going
you've
on?
said that to me before.
Yeah.
Many times back when I worked with you.
Well, some of those were legitimate concerns
Yeah.
because of your lifestyle. Are you still alive?
It's true. But I mean, this Tony guy sounds like an amazing guy.
Oh, absolutely.
And everything he overcame for this to happen to him.
And he's killed on this charity bike ride for prostate cancer. Oh, man. Tony was reported missing on October 2nd, 2017, after his daughter searched the highway and failed to find him. Police determined that Tony passed through Glencoe Village at 6 p.m. on September 29th before biking to the Bridge of Orchie Hotel. It's either Orchie or Orchie. I'm going with Orchie.
Be careful how you say Orchie.
Orchie. I was careful to put the CH on there.
Okay.
But, and maybe that's why I went with the other one, just because, but people are going right in, obviously, and tell me if I'm wrong. They always do. He was last seen at the hotel at 11:30 p.m. and headed south on the A82 towards Tyndrum. The police searched remote and inhospitable terrain surrounding his last known location, but no trace of Tony was found. The police searched extensively and made national appeals, asking the public for help. Tony's son, Mike, a former police officer, knew that the more time passed, the less likely it was that Tony would be found alive. Still, he lied to his mother to convince her that there was still a chance. And I don't think you have to be a police officer, right, to understand that.
Yeah.
If somebody's missing, obviously the more time that passes without them being found, the greater the likelihood that something bad has happened to them.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to break his mom's heart right now.
No, and I could see where, maybe a little white lie in that situation might not be a bad thing.
Yeah.
You're trying to keep that hope alive, even though in your heart, you as a former police officer are thinking, oh, this isn't good.
This is not good, yeah.
No. Tony's case had been cold for years when Sandy confessed to Carline. According to the BBC, the police had actually spoken to the McKellar brothers previously. They were interviewed in August 2018 after the police received an anonymous letter stating they were in the Bridge of Orchie Hotel the night Tony went missing, but no further action was taken. So again, okay, a lot of people are going to be questions.
Yeah.
But what are they going to say? Obviously, they're not going to say, yeah, we ran over this guy and we buried his body. So if they don't give you anything, you don't really have any more to go on than you had before you started talking to them.
I mean, they're both each other's alibi.
That's true as well. That's very true. In June 2020, they were questioned again and confirmed they were in the hotel with a hunting party. But they said they hadn't seen Tony. After he was done telling Carline this horrific story, he insisted he wasn't a bad person.
I mean, there's an argument there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I think in his mind, he's probably thinking, look, I'm a good guy. Something terrible happened that night, and I didn't know what else to do, and we did what we did.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a case that he's not a serial killer. He didn't set out to murder someone.
Yeah.
But he did cover up an accident, if it was an accident, and he did bury the body. On top of that, this information that he's kept quiet has kept the family from knowing what happened to their loved one.
I think that's almost not as bad as killing the guy, but it's up there, right? I mean, you're putting this family in distress because they don't know what happened to their dad, their husband. They have no clue.
Well, some people could argue that it's worse.
Yeah, you could, I guess.
Because if it truly was an accident, okay, a family might understand that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's dark. Maybe these Scottish roads are not that wide, or they're twisty. There's all kinds of different things that could happen, and accidents do occur. What would be hard to explain is that you decided to bury this guy.
Right.
And completely never talk about it again.
And there's probably some conversation there while you were at the hotel. Did you drink too much? Did you drive drunk?
Right.
And is that why you struck him?
Yeah, that's a great point, because that would maybe be a reason why you would do the cover up.
Right.
Because then you would be looking at much more serious charges than what you would be for, let's just say, an accident or something like that. But what happened was, as we kind of mentioned earlier, Carline was kind of suddenly thrust into a murder case.
Yes, she was.
Right? She didn't call the police right away and still decided to visit her family for the holidays with Sandy.
Boy, that'd be so hard because it would just be back here the whole time, you know?
Mm-hmm. On the back of your head or in the back of your mind?
Back of your mind.
and you're doing a thing where you're going around and around like that. I don't know. Carline said in the docuseries, my brain wasn't in a position to go to the police. My brain still wasn't accepting what I'd been told. The underlying sense of panic was so massive. I actually couldn't address it in that moment. And I actually kind of understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never been in that position. But I can't imagine that you're hearing something that is so wild and shocking that you're actually not processing it maybe completely right away.
You kind of need some time to step back to put it all in place.
Yeah, or to get the full picture, the perspective. You know, folks, my wife and I, we're dog obsessed. We have 2 small 8-pound Malteses. One is 13 years old. The other is 2 years old. There's nothing we wouldn't do for them. They really are our babies now that our 2 girls are grown adults. And if anyone gets dog obsessed, it's Ollie. They deliver fresh, human-grade food in 5 drool-worthy flavors so that my dogs can live their best life too. You could say Ollie feeds the obsession. Ollie's fresh recipes are developed by real chefs with gut-friendly ingredients that support better digestion, energy, skin health, and even poops. And from the moment you start your subscription, everything is tailored to your pup. The meals are perfectly portioned, and you even get a pup tainer, a scoop for easy storing and serving. My oldest dog has always been obsessed with food, but my younger dog is a picky eater. But here's the thing, they both love Ollie. So get ready for both you and your pup to be obsessed. Head to ollie.com/TCAT, tell them all about your dog, and use code TCATT to get 70% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, it's risk-free with their obsession guarantee. That's OLLIE.com/TCAT and enter code TCAT to get 70% off your first box. Ollie, feed the obsession.
Every month you rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage, building their equity, following their rules. There's a better way. Home ownership means stable, predictable payments, and every one of them works for you, not your landlord. City Ventures is California's leading builder of smart, innovative new homes, and right now owning may be closer than you think. See the numbers for yourself at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
Further explaining her thoughts after the confession, Carline said, imagine you fell in love with someone who made you feel accepted, wanted, seen, whole, and loved, and just special. Then they said to you they did this horrible thing, something so vile it flips your world upside down. To remain in love, you have to keep the secret, even though you know it will destroy you. But if you reveal it, you destroy everything too. In doing the right thing, I knew I had to hand in the man I loved. You can't help who you fall in love with. It sounds so twisted and dysfunctional, but in some ways, he was putting all this trust in me when I'd been lied to before and really hurt. There was this weird sense of someone trusting me with such a big secret that it felt special, even though I knew it was so poisonously wrong. My brain couldn't fathom the idea that the man I'd fallen in love with was a murderer. I hated myself. I felt like a rat, and I felt like a liar.
But you also have to say, shame on him for putting that on me. Like, you know, he decided to tell me about all that. Yeah, did I ask?
She did ask.
I did ask, but I never would have thought that would have came out of somebody's mouth, right? You probably he's probably thinking maybe he's going to mention like, well, I used to, you know, date this one girl, blah, 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 whatever. Not that I killed somebody. But to put that on her, now she has to harbor that. And that's not fair.
She got to figure out what to do with it, right? Which is a big thing.
I mean, if he was like, hey, I'm going to go to the police, don't worry. That's one thing. But
he's not.
He's not saying that.
No. But I also get where she's coming from, right? She's been lied to. She's had bad relationships. Nobody's ever made her feel special. And now in some way, he's making her feel more special than anybody ever has because he's trusting her so much with this massive secret, even though she knows it's going to rip them apart. It's kind of fascinating, really, when you break it down. It was during that holiday trip that Sandy shocked Carline further by asking her to help him move the body.
Okay.
That's you went too far to begin with, but now you've really gone too far.
I mean, that's crossing the line. If you could say
that he didn't already. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to want to be completely honest in a relationship. You feel like you can trust this person so much. You tell them this awful secret, but then you're like, oh, by the way, I need you to help me move this body. Tough.
It is. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of people out there that say they're ride and die, their best friend. We do anything for each other. Mm-hmm. Would you actually go and move a body that your friend?
Well, I think a lot of people say it, but sometimes when it comes to the actual part, they don't live up to it. So what he explained to her was that the estate owner was going to build housing on the land where Tony was buried. Sandy knew she had expertise in autopsies and asked how long it would take to burn a body and if she could help move it. Carline recalled, "You're thinking to yourself, am I being used for my skill set?"
Maybe.
She said she had pathologist on her Tinder profile. So she was like, did he choose me specifically because he wanted someone to help him with this?
Oh, how heartbreaking would that be?
Yeah, because if he did, this is a pretty long con.
Yeah.
Right? They're like 3 years in or however long. So, but it's not out of the question.
No, it's not.
Carline wanted to end the relationship, but she knew she had to be careful. On December 27, 2020, Carline called the police and began secretly helping with the investigation. On December 30th, Sandy and Robert were arrested and brought in for questioning. They refused to talk, and because the police didn't have a body or any other evidence linking them to the crime, they were released without charges. But Sandy had no idea Carline was the one who reported it.
Oh, man. Wouldn't you be like all nervous if you're Carline?
Well, she said she had to be careful. And I would say, yes, you do. Because this is a person who allegedly didn't kill this man on purpose, but did purposefully cover it up. So in my mind, what links are they willing to go to make sure that this secret is not uncovered?
It's kind of like that poker match, right? You're either all in or you're not. What are you going to do?
Yeah. So now that she knows about it, if he thinks that she's not going to keep his secret, could he potentially harm her? I think it's a very valid thought.
I think so too, especially if he really never loved her because he played her.
Oh, absolutely.
Through the Tinder thing because of her profession.
Yeah. I still think that's a long con. Do you wait 3 years? Maybe. Whew, long con. So Carline was afraid for herself, her family, but she continued seeing Sandy and trying to gather evidence. She secretly recorded her conversations with him in hopes of getting a confession. It was around this time that Robert revealed a new piece of information. He revealed that the cyclist didn't immediately die after the crash. He was alive, and the brothers hid him on the side of the road and drove home, changed clothes, and even switched vehicles before returning to the scene.
So that changes everything.
Everything.
I mean, even if you're like, that was just bad luck, you hit, so tragic. I kind of see why maybe you did what you did, but now you hear this and you're like, what are you guys, monsters?
Yeah.
You couldn't have called 911 or whatever they have out there and get help, maybe save this guy's life.
Yeah, it goes from you accidentally killed someone and then you did something horrible by covering it up to you possibly accidentally hit someone, but then you intentionally did not call for help. and you left them on the side of the road, you did essentially kill them.
Right.
In my way of thinking, then if it happened like that. So they returned to the scene. They took the body to the estate and left it in the woods before burying it elsewhere on the grounds.
How do you sleep at night?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how some of these murderers do. Now, I kind of understand serial killers because they don't have that thing that the rest of us have, right? Where we feel bad about things. I think a lot of serial killers just don't have that.
Yeah.
So they probably sleep pretty good. Doesn't bother them.
You know, I was thinking Robert told Carline that Sandy's a little
off in the head.
Yeah. But it kind of sounds like maybe Robert's there too.
Well, he went along with it.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it was Sandy's idea and all that, but he went along with it. Now, they are twins.
Yeah, they are.
Would you do that for your twin? I don't know because I never had a twin.
Yeah. It'd be an interesting.
I wouldn't do it for you. I know that. Like 911? Yes. Mike Gibson, come get him, please.
Even if I didn't do it, you would probably call me in saying I did it. It had to be him.
If I just had a suspicion,
yeah,
I'd call in on you. Now, what it did, obviously changed Caroline's view of this whole thing from what she thought was an accident to now, like, this was him committing murder.
Oh, I bet that night when she learned this, I wouldn't think she slept at all. I'm pretty sure she was like, how do I get out of this house? How do I get away from this guy? But I got to play it cool because the police need my help and I need the police to do what they're going to do because I need him out of my life because otherwise I might be buried out on the farm as well.
Yeah. She had to be worried about her, her safety also. Carline told Sandy she would help him move the body. But first, she needed to know exactly where it was buried. So, he led her to the spot and she secretly dropped a Red Bull can to serve as a marker for the police.
Very smart.
Very smart. Now, I think she was a very intelligent person, right? She was a pathologist. She had gone through all that schooling. She called the police and told them where they could find it. Tony Parsons' body was found on January 12th, 2021. During the dig, investigators found a piece of red material that matched the jacket Tony was last seen wearing. It took 2 days to uncover his remains.
Wow.
And prosecutors later acknowledged that the body probably never would have been found without Caroline's help.
Oh, I would have to agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think Sandy and or Robert, they were going to come forward to police and tell them what they had done. So, if Sandy doesn't tell Carline and if she doesn't make the decision to do the right thing, right, and go to police, and on top of that, continue this relationship to get further information. I mean, if you think about it, she did a lot here.
Yes, she did.
To help solve this crime.
I mean, shame on Sandy for putting it all on her. Yeah. He did that to himself.
Well, going back to what you said, it makes it an even bigger deal.
Yeah.
Now, right? Once you find all of this out, what he put on her just by that one admission, it must have been like the weight of the world on her shoulders. And my thinking is it got heavier and heavier as time went on.
Absolutely. I mean, it kept on didn't get better.
No, because at first it was like, well, okay, you're telling me this. It doesn't make you look great, but I get it. It was an accident. To now it's a murder that you completely covered up and you want me to help you move the body because you're afraid it's going to be uncovered when they build these houses. And then after the body was found, and Carline had to navigate several days of uncertainty and fear.
Oh, I bet, because the body hadn't been found up to this point. He showed her where the body was. So naturally, I think you would have to say, the only person that knew where this was you and my brother. And I don't think my brother would have told the police. So
No, because he could have done it at any point up to now.
yeah.
And he didn't. The body's found right after I kind of share this with you and tell you where it is. So yeah, I'm with you. Sandy had to be suspicious of her. According to Carline, when the news came out that human remains were found, Sandy called her and screamed at her, "You fucking little bitch, you fucking did this. I have defended you to everyone, and you have handed me in and fucked our lives." Now, this is according to the Scottish Sun, and obviously they left out the expletives, but this is what he said to her.
Well, look, he can say that, but at the end of the day, he's the one that fucked their lives.
Well, yeah, I always like it when people do something and then they blame it on the other person.
Yeah.
Because they did the right thing. That always kills me. Carline recalled the fear she felt when Sandy hung up the phone. Sandy had spare keys to her apartment, and she worried he was going to kill her. And I would say that's a very real fear to have.
Yeah.
If you're her.
Clearly, he has it in his system to do that.
Yeah. And he didn't, now he might have felt guilty about it. I don't know, but it wasn't enough not to do it or to come clean later on.
Yeah.
So it must have not have been too much of a guilty feeling. And then later, Sandy apologized to her. She said, "One side of my brain was saying, this is the loving man I fell for, the gentle Sandy. The other side is saying, this guy is dangerous."
Dr. Heckle, Dr.
Go ahead. Dr. Heckle.
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Jide. Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jide. Yeah, I mean, you really get a sense of it from her perspective, right? She's conflicted.
Yeah.
You know, she loves this guy. She thinks she's going to marry this guy. And then all of a sudden there's the bombshell and then everything that came along after it. And then even after he thinks she's the one who, you know, ratted him out, she's like, he calls her and says, "I'm sorry, I love you." She's still conflicted.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she's in love.
Yeah. But on the other hand, she knows this guy is freaking dangerous.
Yeah.
9 days later, on January 21st, 2021, Carline helped the police locate Sandy and Robert, who were both arrested. By this point, she had been through a great deal of emotional trauma. In that docuseries, she talks about how she turned to alcohol and drugs to cope.
I bet she had to.
Well, I think she felt she had to, or at least she felt that's what she needed to do.
I feel like there wouldn't be enough wine in the world or what are you Scotland people drink?
Scotch?
Scotch.
I don't know. Boy, you're on fire today. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Drink some bunch of scotch.
What do you Scottish people drink? I don't know. But again, if you've never been in a situation like that, how can you know, right? How it would affect you, what you would have to deal to cope, or what you would have to do to cope with it.
I would have to take something to make myself fall asleep.
Yeah. And maybe that was part of the coping process.
Yeah.
Right. I can't get to sleep. I need something to help me. Prosecutors had to wait for Tony's autopsy results to come in before they could file formal charges. In December 2021, Sandy and Robert McKellar were formally charged with murder. The BBC reported that Tony suffered catastrophic rib, pelvic, and spine fractures from the collision. His injuries were so extensive, he would have only survived 20 to 30 minutes without medical care, but it was unlikely he died instantly. His most immediate cause of death was rib injuries and a collapsed lung, affecting his breathing.
But you know what? I'm sure Sandy and his brother didn't know how long he could survive. They were obligated to call rescue, the authorities, to see if something could be done.
Well, there's a couple of things here for me. Number one, yeah, they should have called somebody. Could they have gotten there and saved him within 20 to 30 minutes, right? if that's how long he had, or maybe he had longer. We don't know.
Right.
But then also I'm thinking, okay, that must have been a horrible 20 to 30 minutes. If that's how long he survived.
Amount of pain he had to go through.
Yeah. By himself, nobody helping him. If you're the family, I mean, that's soul crushing.
Absolutely.
To think that's how your husband, your dad, your grandfather died at the hands of these two guys.
Why buy someone else's old problems? Resale homes often come with outdated appliances, inefficient insulation, and costly hidden repairs. City Ventures offers a better way. Our brand new homes feature modern open floor plans, stylish fixtures, and the peace of mind that comes with a builder's warranty. Everything is fresh, functional, and designed for how you live today. Skip the renovation headaches and move into something perfect. Find your new beginning at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
The brothers were scheduled to go to trial in July 2023. Carline was summoned to appear as a witness, but she didn't show up to court. She explained in her documentary interview that she panicked and she drove to the Highlands in hopes of finding more evidence. She was later arrested for evading court.
That's kind of rough, you know?
It is.
You wouldn't be where you're at today if it wasn't for her.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're going to, because she's nervous and scared, she didn't show up, and then you arrest her for evading court. But it is the law, though, so.
Yeah, but my thought is, how much did this mess her life up?
I think it messed it up a lot.
I mean, she had a great job, right? She had gone through all the schooling, and then she meets this guy who she thinks is the one, and all of a sudden, her life is turned upside down.
Yeah.
She started drinking. She started doing drugs to cope. And then she's ultimately arrested because she's freaked out about having to testify. On July 26, 2023, Sandy McKellar pleaded guilty to culpable homicide and attempting to pervert the course of justice. The court accepted Robert's not guilty plea to murder, and he pleaded guilty to attempting to pervert the course of justice. In court on July 28th of that year, the prosecutor read out an agreed narrative of the case. So on the night of September 29th, 2017, the brothers were out drinking with a German hunting group. Tony stopped at this same village they were in, the Bridge of Orkney, and was drinking a coffee in the local hotel, but decided to keep cycling rather than stay the night. Sandy admitted to driving on the A82 highway at excess speed and when he was unfit due to the fact that he had been drinking alcohol.
All right, drunk driving.
Yeah. He admitted he was distracted by oncoming headlights and hit something on the side of the road, which he discovered was a cyclist. He said he panicked. And he said, with reckless disregard for the consequences of his actions, he left Tony by the side of the road in a remote location during the hours of darkness and in inclement weather, which caused his death. Sandy and Robert left knowing Tony was still alive to dump their truck. They returned in another vehicle to move the body to Auk Estate. I mean, there's a couple of things that are all kind of coming together.
Yeah.
One that you mentioned, which was, had these guys been drinking? It turns out, yeah, they had been.
Yep.
And I'm sure that played a large part in their decision to try to cover up this crash because they knew that they would be charged with it, right? You can't claim an accident, even if it was an accident, if you've been drinking. I mean, it ceases to be an accident.
Yeah.
At that point.
I mean, this is a nightmare. I mean, this is something you would see a made-for-TV movie about, right? You're out late drinking, you leave, you're, with your best friend or brother, whoever. Maybe you guys are singing some songs, driving down this road at high speeds. Next thing you know, something is in front of you, you hit it. Mm-hmm. And at that point, your whole world changes because you have to make decisions at that moment, right? Right then, you have to decide, do we call for help or do we pull the body, put it to the side, come back and get it and bury it? What do we do?
Yeah. Do we do the right thing or do we cover our own asses?
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking they kind of based everything on. And they chose not to do the right thing. They chose to cover themselves because they didn't want to get charged with, whatever it would be in Scotland.
Yeah.
Reckless homicide or vehicular manslaughter. I mean, there's a bunch of different things over here. Something related to being drunk, obviously, is what it would be.
Not to get too far ahead in my thought here, but if you're Robert, how pissed are you at Sandy right now for telling Carline?
Yeah, it's a good point. Because he obviously did something wrong as well.
Right.
He went along with it. Let's say it was Sandy's idea. Robert went along with it.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell anybody. So you're right. He's probably got to be pretty upset at Sandy for running his mouth.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, you didn't need to ever tell anybody about this and we would have got away with it.
I thought you said we were taking this to the grave. You didn't hold your bargain.
Yeah. A pathologist determined that Tony sustained extensive injuries. Injuries?
Yeah.
That kind of came out.
Yeah.
And it was unlikely he would have survived. Using an excavator, the brothers buried the body on the estate in a peat bog where animal carcasses were disposed of.
Okay. Well,
It's that peat bog, I think, or that peat
yeah.
that they use to make all that good scotch.
You got to have Pete.
Pretty sure that's what makes all that good scotch over there.
What you don't know is there's a guy named Pete that works the peat bogs. That way.
Is his name spelled P-E-A-T?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So they buried his body. Then they hid Tony's bike behind a waterfall on the estate. This bike has never been found. After the guilty pleas, Tony's family released a statement that was published by Police Scotland. Tony was a much-loved husband, dad, and granddad when he said goodbye and set off on his charity cycle from Fort William that Friday. None of us expected it would be the last time we would be able to see or speak to him.
Yeah.
Throughout the 6 years since he went missing, and then the subsequent criminal investigation, we had been left with many unanswered questions, and it's been heartbreaking for each and every member of the family being unable to get these answers. As you can imagine, not knowing what has happened to someone, and then the devastating news that we were provided has taken its toll on all of us as a family. At last, justice has been done, and we would like to thank not only the court officials and officers from Police Scotland's major investigation team, Forth Valley Division, and other Police Scotland departments who worked on this case, but all the volunteers and mountain rescue teams who tirelessly searched for him in the earlier stages of the inquiry. As a family, we would like to request privacy at this time so that we can finally grieve and come to terms with the outcome of the trial and a life without Tony.
Yeah.
And your heart goes out to them.
Sure.
I mean, no doubt about it. They went a number of years having no idea what happened to Tony, to then finding out that, he was dead, and then ultimately finding out that, these people had a hand in it.
Yeah.
And what they did to cover it up. Very tough for them. On August 25th, 2023, Sandy was sentenced to 12 years in prison, and Robert received a sentence of 5 years and 3 months. Sandy's lawyer, Brian McKellar, read a statement on his behalf in court. He said he accepts that while catastrophically injured, Mr. Parsons was alive at the time. The only explanation which he offers is simply fear and panic. Using his words, he says he was too much of a coward to come clean. When he met Carline and she went to the police, he fully accepts that ultimately she made the right decision in doing so.
That's a fair statement.
It is. I mean, it's more than we've heard a lot of people say.
Yeah.
He is basically calling himself a coward.
Yeah.
And that's what he was.
He was.
Right? He gave in to fear and panic, and he chose to do the wrong thing because he was a coward. It's interesting to hear him say that Carline did the right thing in going to the police.
Yeah.
Sandy wanted to apologize for the trauma he caused to the family. He said he's not an evil man. And his lawyer said he acknowledges that he's done a terrible thing, which has caused untold stress to the Parsons family. He would do anything he could to alter the decision he took in September 2017, but he cannot rewind the clock. And those to me are, I don't know, those could just be words, to be honest with you. Because if he could go back and redo it, would he? I don't know that he would.
Yeah.
If he could go back and not tell Carline, would he?
Absolutely.
And I think the answer to that would be yes.
I think so too.
And those are two different things.
Very different.
In my opinion. I mean, to me, some of this stuff is easy to say once you're caught and you're sentenced and you know what your fate is. But, given that, even some people don't do this. They go the other way, right? And they say bad things about the victim.
Oh, yeah.
The victim's families. They cuss at them and they do all that.
I mean, in this case here, I hope he really does feel bad and sorry and regrets what happened and there's no way to make him amends for what happened.
No, but the thing is, neither one of these guys got a ton of time.
No.
They're both going to get out and be able to live their lives.
Sure. Yep.
So they're going to be able to prove, at some point in time, whether or not they can live a good life and not do anything like this again. Robert's attorney, John Scullion, said his client had misplaced loyalty towards his brother in trying to cover up the death, and he bitterly regrets his callous and cowardly actions. Or he regrets getting caught.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Regrets his brother
or both.
Opening his mouth and telling somebody.
Or that, too. Yeah. Carline Muirhead has since moved to the Scottish coast and is seeing a psychiatrist. She has a new partner. She's sober and has a better relationship with her family.
Well, good.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if it wasn't for her, this case probably would have never been solved.
Yeah, probably not. I think that's a fair thing to say. Now, Carline has made multiple complaints against Police Scotland. She told the Daily Record in 2023. From the word go, the police, they were saying if I didn't cooperate with them, I could end up in trouble myself. I put so much trust in them, and they promised anonymity, support, yet the minute you give them what they want, you're hung out to dry. They suggested from the start that I could also end up in trouble with assisting a criminal, wasting police time, aiding and abetting. Yeah. And that's rough. If that's what they did to her. Now, I get it. If she goes through with helping move the body, yeah, she's going to get in trouble. But it sounds like to me, she was told something. She went to the police, and then she even helped them get the information they needed.
Sounds like when she went to them to tell them what she learned, they wanted her to do more for them. And because she was scared and also in that weird spot of, I love this guy. I don't know what I should do. It sounds like, according to her, they put some pressure on her.
And maybe even threatened her with possible charges if she didn't help them out further.
Which is not what you should do.
No, it's pretty rough, to be honest with you. In the docuseries, Carline said she trusted the system would stand by me and keep me safe when I was at my most vulnerable, but that wasn't my experience. I hope by speaking out and sharing what happened to me, we can start an honest conversation about greater protection for victims and witnesses and why a far deeper understanding of mental health within the police and court system is so desperately needed. All too often, the impact of trauma and abuse is overlooked or dismissed entirely, and this means people like me are being left high and dry to pick up the pieces alone. And there's a couple of really good things there. The first one is protection for victims and witnesses, right? We talk all the time about wanting people to come forward.
Yeah.
People do not want to come forward if they believe there's a chance they're not going to be protected. and even more so, be hung out to dry.
Yeah, it's the worst thing that you could have them think is going to happen to them.
Which is what Carline said happened to her. And then, the impact of trauma and, what happens to some of these people who, in her case, she did the right thing.
She did.
But still experienced such a negative end result that's kind of heartbreaking. After a 5-year investigation, the majority of Caroline's complaints were not upheld, and the police maintained that they offered Carline appropriate support. Despite everything that happened, she has no regrets about coming forward and reporting Sandy, and said he wasn't convicted of murder, but he did take an innocent man's life. So for me, he is a coward and he is a killer.
Yeah.
Now, there's a part of me here, Gibbs, that thinks, what if he never tells her? She ends up marrying a guy who killed somebody and covered it up.
Yeah. And maybe he wouldn't have told her. Maybe he just, whatever reason that if she didn't ask that question, maybe it would have never came out.
And maybe they have a great life and maybe he never does anything bad again.
Sure.
I don't know, but it wouldn't have changed the fact that he did this and he covered it up. In January 2025, BBC reported that Sandy's insurance company settled a civil case out of court and issued a 6-figure payment to the Parsons family. And that's great that they got some money, but 6 figures, it doesn't replace a life.
It doesn't.
There's no way around it.
I mean,
but no amount of money is.
No, I mean, there's no dad, no granddad, no husband anymore,
Yeah. In August 2025, Tony's son, Mike, sat down for an interview with the BBC. He said about the McKellar brothers, what they did was inhumane, and you wouldn't do that to animals. They killed him by not seeking any medical treatment.
He's right.
I believe that. I truly do.
I mean, if that was a farm animal.
Animal.
If it was a farm animal that you hit, you probably would have went back and put it down.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't suffer. They didn't even do that.
They didn't even do that. And even if they did that, that would have been wrong on their part. But what they did was even worse. They left this guy to suffer in agony.
In the dark and the cold.
30 minutes or maybe even longer. We don't know for sure how long it was. Mike noted that Carline had remarkable foresight. Being brutally honest, I'm not so sure if I was in the same situation, I would have done and thought the same way. From my perspective, I have nothing but massive amounts of gratitude for that, because had she not done that and put herself into these positions, then we would never have found my dad's body.
Absolutely. This whole thing centers around what Caroline's actions did.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Mike also told the BBC that no sentence would ever be enough, but he would like his father to be remembered for the good things he did rather than how he died. He said, for me, he was a grumpy old dad who you had your run-ins with every now and then, but I'd like people to remember him as the guy who wanted to help everybody.
Yeah, you want him to be remembered for all the good things he did in his life.
Yeah, not for, how he died and what ultimately happened for him, but I feel for the family because, gosh, they for a long time, right, as we wrap this episode up, they didn't know what happened to Tony.
Yeah.
And then once they found out, they had to have been unbelievably shocked.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of thoughts probably go through your head. Foul play, maybe just an accident and he got hurt. And maybe he's attacked by an animal or he got lost in the woods and succumbed to the elements, all kinds of different things. But is one of them that two people willingly let this man die and then buried his body?
Never would have thought, right?
Probably not.
I mean, this is a guy that fought and beat cancer, right?
Yeah.
How tough that had to be. And then he's trying to do some good things for awareness around it.
Helping out a charity.
Yep. To be hit and left on the side of the road to die. It's tragic.
Yeah. And then, for me, like you said, the central character here is Carline and what she did and the sacrifices she made, because I really do think they were sacrifices.
They were.
You know, her life was upended completely, and I think she made the right decision. But even in doing the right thing, she suffered like some really serious consequences.
She did. She really did.
She lost this man who she thought was the love of her life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Her life seemed to crumble a little bit.
Yeah. Using
drugs and alcohol to cope with everything that was going on. Now, it does sound like she's back on track. She's doing well, but
which is good.
You just feel bad for her because she, like you said, how selfish for him to put her in that position.
Yeah. Yeah. It really was.
But a fascinating story all the way around. But that's it for our episode on Carline Muirhead and Sandy McKellar. And that's it for another episode of True Crime All the Time. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
Why buy someone else's old problems? Resale homes often come with outdated appliances, inefficient insulation, and costly hidden repairs. City Ventures offers a better way. Our brand new homes feature modern open floor plans, stylish fixtures, and the peace of mind that comes with a builder's warranty. Everything is fresh, functional, and designed for how you live today. Skip the renovation headaches and move into something perfect. Find your new beginning at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.